Hey guys, Mike and Jeff with CS Outdoors. It's July 12th and we just made a quick run out to the farm this morning. We bounced out here, got out here just at daybreak, and got a little bit of work to do. We're going to hang some cameras today, and got a feeder we're going to get filled up for the remainder of the summer, and got a little maintenance and that kind of junk to do, just some odds and ends. It's kickoff for 2015 for us. It's been so wet. We've had the wettest summer that I can remember, and we haven't been able to get in and even get our hay cut yet, or get food plots in or anything else. We just bury the tractor as soon as you try. So we're at least going to get out here and get cameras hung up and be able to start taking inventory. On a sad note, we found out just this past week that the biggest buck that we've been chasing for years, Maximus, any of you guys who have followed us before or anything, you've probably seen pictures of him. We found out he got killed last rifle season by a neighbor, of all things, across the highway, and found out he had been crossing the highway, which we kind of suspected, and find out, and finally we were able to close the chapter on that book. You know, it's bittersweet knowing that he's not going to be here to hunt anymore, but at the same time, you know, it's nice to know what happened, rather than us, you know, be spinning our wheels trying to figure out where he went. So anyway, that's kind of what we're gonna be looking to do today. So
yeah, we'll probably go through there. We brought the weed eater, so we're gonna go through and cut our lanes in and out to and from the cameras, and make sure all of the foliage is trimmed up, and give those Moultrie cameras as much of an opportunity to take good, clear images as possible. So just keep the foliage down around, cut the limbs that are hanging by the cameras. We all know how the leaves and all that kind of stuff affect the cameras, and we try to get that all out of the way and get out of here before it gets too hot. We're supposed to get 95 degrees, something like that today. So, but looking forward to getting the season up and running, and hope everybody else is out there getting their stuff ready too. So one of the coolest things about this Google Earth is you can kind of go through and you can drop your pins on areas that you want to concentrate your cameras on. Mike and I go back and forth for weeks before we get to this point. We have probably 15 different cameras we're getting ready to put out, so we go back and forth and get all these points figured out beforehand, and hopefully we have all of our bases covered. It's a great way to get an overall view of what your property has and make sure that you're hitting all these pinch points. So we have a lot of lakes, so there's a lot of draws, so we try to cover all those aspects. And then we have a new chunk over here we're going to do in food, so we're going to go ahead and put some cameras over there to make sure that we have all that coverage that we're looking for over there. So been a great tool to have, not just for preseason stuff, but you know, during the course of the season, being able to just refresh where everything's at, and kind of get an overlay of everything that's happening on your property. And not even that, but being able to zoom out a little bit and check to see what else is going on around you and how that affects the deer that you're trying to harvest. So it's been a really cool tool. So
putting out some of these Moultrie 880s. The thing I love about this camera is the batteries are so easy to change. You can actually leave the camera on the tree, and it's got this eject feature, and it's got a battery tray that slides out, and you can just take this back to the truck if you want to and fill your batteries up. We take them with us, just it's less trips in and out, less scent that we're leaving. So it's really simple. You just fill this tray up and then slide it right back into the camera. You don't have to monkey with trying to get batteries up into the camera while it's on the tree or anything like that. It's really simple. I really like that feature. So we decided, you know, we wanted to start fresh, so we got all new camera cards this year, all new batteries. We just said, you know, we're just gonna get totally ready from square one, and we're just loading up now, getting the new cards put in, and getting all the batteries ready to rock and roll. So we'll be able to have a fresh run on everything going into the year. So since we're kind of getting a late start on what we're doing, usually we have our cameras out, you know, maybe a month earlier than we do now. You know, we want to be as inobtrusive as possible in their core areas. So we want to let those batteries have as much life as possible. So start new every year, and that way, you know, with certainty that you're going to be good to go, and your cameras are going to work properly going into the summer when we're trying to get that most recent information. So.
So we're kind of doing a little, I'm going to call it rigged operation. Normally we would drive straight to our feeder to do this, but it's just been so wet we can't get anywhere. Anybody that's driving in there is getting stuck, and it's just a soup sandwich. So we're just putting the boots on the ground. We're just going to wheelbarrow this corn back into where we have this feeder set up, and just hand bucket it in, because we don't need a tow bill today. It's the last thing we need.
All right, we'll go back and get another load of corn. Finish filling this, but just a little bit about this site. We've kind of had our own feeder that we threw together one rainy afternoon. Jeff and I had the idea of just taking one of these 55-gallon drums, and then we just took a grinder and cut out 2 ports at the bottom so that feed could flow out on both sides. So that way you don't have one port, and if there's multiple deer, and especially bucks, when they're in velvet, that they're not in there hitting their antlers together and destroying some of their antler potential if they damage their velvet. But anyway, we just took a grinder, cut 2 ports out on each side, flipped it upside down, and then we had to find a way to get an angle in the bottom so that it flowed. So, because if not, it would just kind of get stagnant in there. So we basically flipped it upside down, and we took a forklift up at Jeff's old warehouse, and just took a forklift and drove straight down the middle of it until we got a bevel in there. And then whenever we flipped it up, inside the barrel, the bottom of the barrel is raised like this, so it flows out on both sides. So we've had this up here for, I guess, 4 years now, and really had great success in this spot where we are on the farm. It's the highest point on the farm, and it's just a ridge line that runs through here, and it slopes down on either side of it. And basically the way the topography is it's kind of like the spoke on a wheel. We're at the top of the ridge. Everything converges right here, and there's draws that come up on all sides. I think 6 different draws that all feed up through here. And deer, creatures of habit, they're going to take the path of least resistance. So this seems to be an area that we get tons of pictures. I mean, the corn just supplements that, but we hung our moultrie on the tree back there, and we've always had great success getting summer velvet pictures right at this spot. So we really get a good handle on the majority of the deer on the farm, at least in this core area here on this section of it. So anyway, we're going to get another load of corn here and wrap this up and move on to the next one.
So Mike and I just got done hanging a camera and started talking about how the information that we're getting from these game cameras through the course of the year is not exactly relevant to what you're doing now, but really a good source of information for the years following. Making sure that you're paying attention to all the different aspects of the environment that they're dealing with at the time. So
yeah, weather's huge there. You can go back and there's plenty of resources online that you can go back and pinpoint. You can pull up the exact date from the year before, and you can find out what the barometric pressure was, what the wind speed was, wind direction, and you can find out exactly what was going on, you know, weather-wise, and find out, you know, what is influencing that deer's movement at that time. So it's really something to keep in mind, because like what we do is if we pull our cards once a month, by the time we pull those cards, he's probably on a different pattern at that point. So by the time we actually are looking at those cards, we have a month's worth of data, and you know, that's not relevant to where we are right now. If I pull a card in September, you know, and that's got all the pictures from August on there, we're looking at what he was doing then, not what he's doing now. So that's why we always try to use our trail camera pictures from the year before to try to predict what he's going to be doing at the time we're actually going out to hunt him. So Jeff and I just came walking over to the dam. We were going to hang a camera over here. There's a little transition area by the spillway. And we found just within the last week or two, the beavers have been back in here, and they've dammed up the whole end of this cove. There's probably at least a foot. No, there's at least a foot here on the end, but in here, I mean, there's a 2-foot wall there, and a lot more in the middle. So it's putting a lot of pressure on the dam because of all the rain we've been having recently, and we gotta release the pressure here. So we're gonna take care of it the only way we know how. Well, that did it.
She's flowing now.